Welcome back to the Pease Podcast. This is a podcast where we delve into the people of our Bayside community. I'm your host, Joan Pease, and I proudly serve as your state member for Lytton. In today's episode, I'm really thrilled today to have Sara Whitmee, who is our local councillor. And we're going to have a chat to Sara to find out a little bit about you and what you believe the Bayside needs from its local councillor. So welcome.
Thanks, Joan. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. So Sara, give me a little bit of a background of your history. Not too much, just why you decided to get into council.
The Cliff Notes. Yeah. Well, for me, I decided that I wanted to get into council specifically because I love local government. Local government is, well, it says it in the name, it's local. You know, it's with state and federal government, a lot of what you do and your colleagues in the federal government, everything is, it's so big picture. You know, you're changing the future, and we see those results in 5-10 years time. And you know, the work that you're doing in state government is absolutely amazing, but we're not going to see it tomorrow. Whereas in local government, what we do is smaller, but it can change someone's life tomorrow. Whether it's organising for an in-home bin pickup to help a 92-year-old woman, or fixing that street that's had that pothole for 30 years, I can get that done tomorrow. And it's those little changes that we make every day that makes massive impacts on people's lives.
And it's incredibly rewarding, no doubt.
Very, 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 very rewarding. I haven't been in the job long, but I'm addicted to it.
It's a wonderful experience being able to help someone, isn't it?
It is. Just seeing that look on someone's face when that problem that they thought was never going to get fixed finally happens. You know, the people are genuinely happy when you're able to help them. And
so what do you think we need to do down here in the Bayside? What's your big picture?
My big picture, I see a lot. I see so much potential in Wynnum and Manly. There's so much that could be achieved. I think that to achieve some of those dreams that I know all of us share of what Wynnum and Manly could look like, a lot of that's going to have to come down to relationships between, you know, you and I and us and the federal member to actually come together and work as a team to do that. I think I'm in a great position to help facilitate those kind of conversations to actually get that funding to achieve that. I think it's really important that I don't think anyone can deny that the face of our community is changing. It's been on a full steam ahead change for a few years now. And I think it's time that we embrace that and work with it, not against it. But we need to make sure that as our community grows and as buildings start to go up and as more and more businesses call Wynnum home, we don't lose what it means to be Wynnum. We don't lose that ability to have a conversation with a perfect stranger on Edith Street. You know, we need to make sure that those relationships and those connections continue, and we do that by continuing those conversations, having true consultation with people, not just that tick a box, yeah, I've done it, actually actively engaging with people on what they want to see in Wynnum, what they want to see in Manly. Because we all have a dream, and it's so important for everyone to have a say in that.
Yeah, it is a great place where we live, and we've got some pretty amazing community groups and community members who just step up and do so much work each and every day. And I know that during the recent storm events around Christmas, a lot of people stood up and including yourself and myself went out and helped in the community, and it was really heartwarming, wasn't it?
It was, and just watching people roll up their sleeves, because that's what you do. That's what you do in a community. When the going gets tough, you roll up your sleeves and help. You enjoy it in the good times, but you can't always stay in the good times. Sometimes we face challenges, and you see the strength of a community when those challenges come. And I think the Christmas storms really showed how strong our community is.
Yes, you're right. It's a great place to live. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You've got a husband and a little boy.
I do. I have my husband's name's Blaze and our son's Theodore. We call him Teddy. We've lived here I moved into Wynnum about 12 years ago. Lived on in this tiny little one-bedroom townhouse on Drayton Terrace 12 years ago, and we bought our house at the end of 2019 in near Moreton Bay College. We specifically bought there because we wanted our son to go to Wandle Heights, because that's where my husband went. My husband went from there to Wynnum North. Both my mum and my dad and his siblings all went to Wynnum North as well. We just loved it here. When we were looking at where we were going to settle, the conversations about settling anywhere else, they were there. I think they were there for every newlywed, but they didn't stay long. We've always loved it here. We've always felt a connection. I grew up in Alex Hills, and we spent most of my weekends here. I've got the burn marks from the old metal slide to prove it.
In the wading pool, we're talking
the wading pool, yes.
Yes, I've got the splinters still in me from the old timber one.
My mum talks about the splinters from the old wooden slide, yes.
So obviously you're really committed to the area, and I'm delighted to hear that, because I'm very similar. Yeah. And I think that one of the things I'd like to hear from you, Sarah, is what are your visions around infrastructure and transport?
Yep. Like I said before, Wynnum's growing. Wynnum is absolutely growing, and I'm so supportive of that. I'm absolutely agree that we need more housing. So many people want to move in here, and we don't have the housing to support them. And so we need to make sure that we are, expanding and actually having that growth in housing infrastructure.
Creating some opportunities for people to get into the area.
Exactly. But I think what's really, really important is, as we grow, we need to make sure that our surrounding infrastructure is keeping up. So our roads, our footpaths, our services, that they're actually keeping up with the growth. And I don't think that there's a single person in Wynnum that would say at the current rate we're growing when we are keeping up with infrastructure. We're just not. We have so many roads that are falling apart. We've got footpaths that don't go anywhere. We've got so many roads that need pedestrian crossings. We need to upgrade intersections like the Whites Road intersection, the Stannard Road, Manly Road. As people are growing, we're getting more cars on the road. We're getting more people on the road, and what we have at the moment can't withstand that traffic. So we need to make sure that we've got an active infrastructure plan. And as of just this week, our latest policy announcement actually has a record investment into road infrastructure, which is $1 billion spent in the first year. That's massive. Just imagine how many roads we can upgrade, how many roads we can resurface. We've got Preston Road getting resurfaced this year, but we've got grass growing through Wynnum Road. We need to make sure that we're actually doing that, and we have a plan to do that, not just putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds.
And that's an interesting thing to talk about too, the infrastructure. I know that there's been a very large increase in the amount of cyclists that are on the roads these days, and myself included. And I'm wondering, has there been any discussion around improving the cycleway connections?
Yes. So one of the commitments that we've just announced is actually closing those gaps in cycleways. So at the moment, you might be able to get from Wynnum to further into Wynnum, or go into Tingalpa to Cannon Hill, but then there's a break in cycle paths. So our commitment's actually to connect those so that you can safely and securely ride your bike into the city, ride your bike to Carindale, because those cycleways will be connected.
Oh, that's great news, because part of the future is active transport.
Absolutely.
And providing safe places for people to. Yeah. It's not just cyclists. It's also improving the footpaths for people with accessibility issues and people with prams and the like. So that's great news.
Yeah, and you just did the wheelchair challenge with me. You would have been very aware that what we have at the moment is not okay.
No, and interestingly enough, the crossings, pedestrian crossings, is something that's we find that there's a bit of a shortage in the area here, particularly in Wynnum CBD area. And those connections from the footpath for particularly for people in wheelchairs, having done that challenge, it was a real eye-opener.
It was.
So there's opportunities there. So How can constituents get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me in so many different ways. You can Facebook's a great way because I try and put as much update on there as possible. We are living in the 21st century. Most people get their news from there. I'm very available on my mobile phone. My office is at 212 Bay Terrace. I'm usually there. If not, I'm sweating myself out on the streets door, knocking on people's doors. But I'm also very approachable. If you see me in the street, come and say hi. I'm definitely not shy of a conversation, as you know. But give me a call, reach out to me on Facebook, send me an email, whatever is comfortable for you. Set up and have a coffee with me. I just went and had a coffee with Angela Burns yesterday because sat with her for an hour just because she wanted to talk to me, and I'm happy to do that. I want to make it very, very clear that I'm not unapproachable. However you want to meet me.
Oh, that's great. And, you'll probably run into Sara out and about at one of the many events or at the market. So I can guarantee you will find Sara out and about. There's also another kind of a quirky little way that people can get in touch with you, which is the Fixagram.
Yes,
Tell
my
me a little bit about
Fixagram is
that.
amazing. Okay, so this is actually, I can't take credit for Fixagram. It is a Brisbane City Council initiative that was started a while ago. But with the Fixagram with Brisbane City Council, you don't get to, you have to chase it up. You have to do all of the legwork. So I've launched my own Fixagram, which if you have a pothole, if you have a broken footpath, if you have a suggestion on what we should do in Wynnum, you can fill that out. We've got paper copies. You can find it online. You can fill that out and I'll do the heavy lifting for you, and we keep you up to date on how that's going. Any responses that come through, we let you know. I've started sending weekly emails to let you know that council is very, very slow, but I'm still working on it. I haven't forgotten about you. And we can actually just get it done, just making it easier for people to actually not just complain about the issue. Let's just get it fixed.
That's great. People want to know that if they've made a complaint, get an update on what's going on.
Exactly.
And you do a weekly newsletter?
I do my weekly
pretty
newsletter.
Amazing.
Yes, and it just keeps everyone up to date on what's happening in Wynnum because, as you know, there is a lot happening out here. It's a lot. There's always something to do on the weekends, and so my newsletter makes sure that you know where it is and know what's going on. If you have an event that's coming up in the next week or two, let me know. We'll put it in the newsletter. Subscribe to the newsletter because we've got thousands of subscribers as it is, but if you're not getting it, please get it because it's not just useless information. There's a lot of gold in there.
And take my word for it, viewers and listeners, it is a newsletter. It's a great way to keep up to date with everything that's going on in the Bayside. So how do people get in touch with you to put something in there or to subscribe to the newsletter?
So just send me through your email address if you want to subscribe. Just send the office an email, or even on Facebook you can just give me your email and I can subscribe you. And if you want something put into the newsletter, just send the office an email and we can make sure it's in there.
And what is your email address?
So there's a couple, but we'll stick with the office email, which is Wynnum Manly, one word, .ward at bcc.qld.gov.au.
That's great. And
I'm hoping that you're going to actually type that out because no one will be able to spell that.
That's okay. We'll put that on there.
Perfect.
But Sara, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day. I know how busy you are. You're always off and about, rushing from one thing to the next. Yes, but that's our job.
It is.
And, we both take it very seriously, what we do. We love the Bayside, so it's really good to be able to be here.
Yeah.
So, Sara, thank you again for coming.
Thank you for
having me,
I hope
you enjoyed this episode. So please make sure that you subscribe to the Pease Podcast so that you make sure that you never miss an opportunity, a bit like Sara's newsletter. I would encourage you to get in touch with Sara in her office to register for the newsletter. And as I've said, we'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions about anyone that you might like to have that I do a podcast with. But it's always wonderful to be here with wonderful people like Sara. So thank you today for coming in.
Thank you again for having me.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.